Do you have any predictions, comments on the way the lack of physical contact and intimacy, even when we have a digital community, will be affecting the mental and social health of others? Because I feel very affected, you know, even though I've got the digital world and always did have it and didn't leave much, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know if it's a prediction, but what I'm seeing already is that not having, having the option to connect with others is very important for people.
Mm-hmm.
So even if somebody says, I'm an introvert, I like to be indoors a lot, or I'm doing okay during the pandemic, this is kind of nice, I don't have expectations. I think even for those folks, the option to leave home, connect with people if you wanted is, it's been eliminated for a long time. And I think that shifts something inside you. When you think about yourself as an autonomous being, you know, with options. I also think that, you know, I joke with people that I feel like I'm going to have forgotten how to have sex by the end of this pandemic. And a friend of mine joked and said, it's like riding a bike.
That's right.
And as much as that's, I'm sure, is true, I think there's a trepidation, an anxiety, a hesitation about meeting up with people, right? Because now I'm in a headspace where I'm thinking, I haven't gotten a vaccine yet, and if I'm having sex with somebody, like, how worth it is it? And now we're in a place where we're evaluating whether the risk is worth it, and based on what? Like, how attractive the person is, how well I know them, how much time we actually have to get it on. Will we be able to do a round 2 if needed? Like, I want to get the most value out of this situation.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm economizing this.
How do I even assess how much value I'm getting from an experience, and is it worth it? Yeah.
And get the most out of it, right? You're like, well, I'm only willing to fuck you if you're like, are you down for like 3 in a row? So that
I have definitely found all these thoughts, and not necessarily in these exact words, but the concept at the root of this is like ambiguity, making decisions around the pandemic and how I'm engaging with other people and my sexuality and everything.
Yeah.
And I think for us, since we had the kid, you know, we just were like, all right, fuck it on the extramarital stuff. And all of the same questions you're having for dating, we're having with, can they hold our baby? Can they hold our baby? Because it's the same, relatively like the same kind of contact situation. We were just like, fuck it on the casual encounters, because God forbid we're the selfish ones that bring this shit into the family, you know. But now the question is like, are you safe enough to hold her? Because she needs to see full faces, unmasked, or else she will not develop all of the, you know, the human contact, emotional knowledge, like risking sociopath, you know, kind of behavior if these babies are not seeing expressions. So we're like, we don't want her to be a serial, I mean, you know, being dramatic, you know, we don't want her to be a serial killer. We would rather risk COVID. She needs to see some people. And so then we had to hand pick individuals that are allowed to be unmasked within her range. And it's like,
and what do we base that on?
Yeah.
You know? What's...
Yeah, so it's been really tough.
And the truth is that sometimes you're going with the gut feeling, and you have to, because it makes you more comfortable. It may not always be based on science, but we hope that
we've been trying.
We hope that it's as good as, like, we hope that it manifests in some harm reduction, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And to the person's question, you know, like, will contact change? I think the settings in which people relied on to hook up and meet are still not going to be back to normal for a little while, because we don't know if we're going to need yearly booster shots. We're going to get vaccinated, and we just don't know what return to life is going to be like. A lot of the businesses that were there before might not be there again. We don't know what the guidelines are going to be. And frankly, a lot of people met at bars and clubs and stadiums and concerts and games and places where
people
there
gather.
are people.
Yeah.
So now if you're going to a public place and you're keeping distance, you're going with your own group of friends, the way you enter a space shifts. The idea is you stay with the bubble as opposed to interacting with other people.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, you know, the idea was to, people always say, to get out of your bubble. Like, people literally use that expression, right?
Meet and greet.
And,
It used to be scary.